Yet. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your instructor, Pierre Hui, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. Today is Monday. Y'all know how we do this on Monday. Scientific concepts. I break everything down. 4 domains, 4 days of the week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, we do the full court press. Okay. So 4 domains per the CIB. What does the CIB stand for? The CIB stands for the Candidate Information Bulletin. It is the very guide that State Board tells you what they are primarily looking for and what you should be studying for to be ready for your Barber theory exam. Now, with that being said, scientific concepts, the number one most failed domain out of the four. The second is haircare services, but by far the number one most failed is scientific concepts. So, guess what we're talking about today? Scientific concepts. Now, what I like to do with my information, I like to keep it really, really short. I try not to violate your attention span. The average person doesn't pay attention for a long time. So, we always break down, especially scientific concepts, something as tedious as scientific concepts. We're going to break it down to bits and pieces, and we're going to keep it really, really short. Okay. That's not to say that I might not get back on here and do some more of it, but until then, we'll keep it short. And if I do get back on here, it'll just be, again, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, those type of things. Okay. For the 5 people that are watching, feel free to say hello. Feel free to shout me out. I appreciate y'all joining. Today, what are we talking about? Standard precautions. Okay. Standard precautions to protect you and your clients. What are standard precautions? These are guidelines published by the CDC that require the employer and employee to assume that any human blood and body fluids are potentially infectious because it may not be possible to identify customers with infectious diseases. Strict infection control practices should be used with all clients. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Hey, hey, what's up? I love y'all too. I love y'all too. What's up, Pooh? All right. In most instances, clients who are infected with the Hep B virus, that is hepatitis B, or other blood-borne pathogens are asymptomatic, which means they show no symptoms and they show no signs of infection. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and the CDC have set safety standards and precautions that protect employees in situations when they could be exposed to bloodborne pathogens. Precautions include proper hand washing, wearing of gloves, and proper handling and disposing of sharp instruments and any other items that may have been contaminated by blood or other body fluids. It is important that certain procedures be followed if blood or body fluid is present. More on that in a minute, okay? Next, let's talk about an exposure incident. Contact with blood or body fluid. You should never perform a service on any client who comes into the shop with an open wound, a rash, or an abrasion. Sometimes accidents happen while the service is being performed in the barbershop, however, but most times, hey, hey, what's up, ma? How you doing? Look, we ain't gonna talk about the Niners and the Eagles. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. I damn sure ain't gonna do it because my Panthers are like 1-11, but we'll leave that alone. We'll leave that alone. An exposure incident is contact with uh, non-intact, meaning broken skin, blood, body fluid, or other potentially infectious materials that is the result of the performance of a worker's duties. Should the client suffer a cut or abrasion that bleeds during the service, you follow the steps outlined in the previous procedure where they talk about it for the client's safety as well as your own. All right. So I just said we wasn't gonna do it, man. I just said we wasn't gonna do it. I just said I wasn't gonna do it, man. Look, I listen. I know you bleed green. I know you bleed green and you fly high. I wouldn't have it any other way. So, all right. So the thing about standard precautions and the thing about exposure incidents is so important because number one, you You always need to be in control of anything that happens with your client. Any of these things can happen very easily, especially when you're thinking about shaving and when you're thinking about shape up. So a lot of people think about shaving because you have a sharp blade, you have a sharp edge, and you can cut. Right, you can, meaning you can break the skin, you can cut somebody's skin, and you have a blood spill incident and procedure that you got to follow. But what a lot of people don't talk about is when you have tremors. So a lot of times, especially in what we'll say, urban barbershops, we set our trimmer blades flush to each other, which means, well, what we like to call zero gap. So that just means the blades of the front blade and the back blade are matched up evenly. There's no space between them. Okay. So with that being said, they're very, very sharp as well. Well, a lot of times with our clients, if you got bumps or anything like that, if you literally just rake over the bumps with the trimmers, I'm guilty of it. I've done it too. A bunch of barbers have done it. You can break the skin that way. That counts as a skin break. So you need to be able to deal with that as well. Because sometimes you might be doing a shape up and somebody have a bump somewhere, especially along the shape line. I've seen it all the time. But a lot of times, especially on the face, underneath the beard, this is a highly, highly common area where you're dealing with razor bumps and things like that. So when you go over that with the trimmers, you might break the skin because you're busting a bump, so to speak. Well, you're drawing blood. Same thing. You're dealing with a blood spill procedure. You have to know what you need to do, what precautions you need to take to prevent it. But also, if it does happen, you need to be prepared of how am I going to handle this? What materials would be best? What can I do to protect the client at all times, because that's our biggest thing is customer service and client safety. Okay, that should always be number one of the top things on your list in your mind is being in control of that. Okay, and on top of that, you have to be aware of these procedures, and dealing with incidents because it will be on your test. Okay, if nothing else, it's gonna be on your test. They're gonna ask questions about it on your theory, and they have a whole section that you have to demonstrate what you're gonna do on your practical. So blood spill procedure is section, let's see, either section 5 or section 6. It put it like this: it's after shaving. Okay, so yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's section 5. So if shaving is section 4, they want you to demonstrate. All right, what would you do in a situation where you cut somebody with your razor blade? How would you proceed? You have to know how to proceed. They're going to look for that on your practical as well. Okay. All right. So real quick, that was real quick talk about standard precautions and exposure incidents, things of that nature. Um, we are within the 10-minute mark, which makes me very happy. I used to be 15 minutes. Now I'm within 10 minutes. Because, like I said, we're not trying to be here all day. And the information that's presented, hopefully we do enough of the little stuff and we go over it frequently enough that you keep a solid foundation of this stuff and you don't have to worry about forgetting it when you go on later, because I'm not over I'm not overwhelming you with information. Okay. All right. That being said, I'm your instructor, Pierre Hui, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. If you or anybody that you know can use my services dealing with barbering or barber education, you can find me anywhere. My finger won't even go there. Let's see. Get there we go. At Pierre Huey, Pierrehouey. You can send me message. You can contact me directly. You can send me an email, all of that good stuff. You can find me on all social media platforms at Pierre Huey. And until January the 1st, so from this month to the rest, all of my classes are going to be discounted. So ask me about that and I'll have answers for that too. Okay. All right. Going to jump off of here. You guys have a wonderful Monday. Till next time. See you soon. Peace.